Hello and welcome to round 9 of the Invictus Racing League F1 League here in France. I'm just going to start off by apologising because I completely forgot to record my first and second runs in qualifying, and as you can see we've got 1 minute to go here in qualifying and we are currently in P2 behind our teammate Invictus. So yeah, my first run was a good banker, and I think put me in 6th after most people had done their first runs. But then my second lap I was so happy with. I think 27.4, not far off my PB that from practice, so super happy with that lap. And yeah, our team's currently got a front row lockout. We've still got 30 seconds left, so we're going to go for another run now, see if we can just ensure that second place. I think Invictus was about 10th ahead, but we'll see what we can do now as we exit the final corner, getting a nice clean run, flying up towards turn one. Very easy to invalidate here, but we keep it nice and clean. See, nearly half a tenth up already, so good first chicane. And it's a lot about commitment on this track to be quick. See, throwing it in there, just about not invalidating. Yeah, you've got to be committed around this track in order to get the good lap times. So see, go on throttle there, nice and clean, down the straight, open DRS, over 200 miles an hour, and then you're looking for the end of the tarmac on the right there. We turn in too early and we unfortunately invalidate there, as we did at the last race, as we often do. Yeah, just invalidated, but as you can see we've still finished in P3. Andre jumped us at the end, but still a really good starting position for the race. So yeah, it should be a good one from here. But as you can see, Harry and Stinson there both qualified on mediums outside the top 10, and that is a super strong strategy around here. And yeah, as you can see here, the soft to hard strategy is very hard. It's really hard to stretch the softs and the hards without getting a puncture. So yeah, although we qualified in P3, I wasn't confident that I was going to get a podium really at this stage, because yeah, I knew Invictus from practice was much quicker than I was in the race, and Andre as well clearly had good pace. And with Harry and Stinson coming from the back, with how strong the medium to hard strategy was, I knew that those two would be really quick. Not even towards the end of the race, throughout the whole race, the mediums are just a better race tyre, I think, than the softs. So yeah, I just wanted to help Invictus from here, really defend from the people behind him, see if he could get a lead, and yeah, see what we can do from here. Five red lights come on now. They're out, and it's a okay getaway, but a bit of wheel spin. You see Bando Biz comes up our outside. We just want to keep it clean as usual, just not lose any wing. And on the second part of that chicane he gets past on us, but that's alright. We know it's going to be a bit of a DRS train for this race, so we just want to keep it clean and stay with the leaders as long as we can, and then hopefully be able to do something in the pit stop phase. Obviously at this point we know we're going to be pitting later than everyone else because Invictus in front of us. We know I'm not going to be able to get an undercut. We're looking at about lap 7 to 8 we want to be stopping, and even then the hards are going to be bordering on 80%, which is the place where you start to get punctures, is around 80%. So it's going to be a stretch, and you're going to have to really manage tyres around here to make it on the softer hards, and that's why the medium to hards is really the better strategy. But see, it's been an okay first lap. We're comfortably behind. Bando not having to push too hard to stay with him. See Nathan behind as well. not too far off us. So yeah, but I believe you can see in the mini-map there, McLaren of Stinson pitted, so there was a bit of an incident at the back, I think, which meant a few people lost their front wings. But and yeah, you can see Nathan behind us has already got a 3-second time penalty as well, so it's easy to do around here, so we're going to have to watch out for that. At this point you see Bando's dropped out the DRS of Andrew, and now Finn Marcus retires, and that brings out the virtual safety car. And as you can see here, the top 3 go straight in the pits, and as I just said, from lap 7 it is a struggle to make it to the end. So even though our teammate pitted there, I was not even thinking about pitting. Even if he wasn't in front of me, I was never going to pit there, because I didn't think they would make it. So yeah, me and Nathan carry on. You can see Harry already up to 3rd on the mediums after starting in 12th, so that's helped him out quite a lot. But now we're in the lead, Nathan behind us with 3-second time penalty, so now we've just got to be consistent. We know that those hard runners who've pitted on lap 4 are going to really struggle to make it to the end of the race. You can see our tyre wear there already quite high, so yeah, they're going to struggle, and we've still got to manage our tyres just to do the strategy that we were originally planning on. As we move on to lap 7, you can see Harry's only 7 tenths behind us, so right behind Nathan. So we're going to be looking at pitting soon on lap 7 to the hards to then stretch it to the end of the race. And you can see it, Nathan gets right up behind us and goes for the overtake, which I was quite surprised about, because I definitely had the better pace of us two, so I thought he'd just want to sit behind and yeah, save tyres in the RS, but he decided to go for the move, which is fine. And then coming out of here, we completely lose the back end, which allows Harry through. So that's not ideal. And then you can see Nathan pits anyway, so not sure why he went for the move, but fair enough. So now we were planning to pit on lap 8 to not comfortably make it to the end, but more comfortably than pitting lap 7. As you can see, it says on the right there. And then coming into turn 1, we brake too late in the DRS of Harry and run wide, which isn't good. We were wanting to hang in his DRS on this lap so that Nathan hopefully wouldn't undercut us too much. But yeah, as you can see, he's already pulled out a second on us. The medium's just so much faster at this point. So yeah, there's nothing really we can do here. See, end of lap 8, he's pulled out to 1.9 seconds ahead of us. So yeah, that's not good, but we can finally pit and put the hards on. As you can see, we pause it because I was actually having some issues with my force feedback. Decided not to change it there because I wouldn't have been able to change it in time. I would have yeah, messed up the pit stop and not pulled out of the pit box straight away. So yeah, decided not to do it there. Yeah, my force feedback just went really light for the first stint, which wasn't great. It meant I didn't have a great feel for the car, but you can see here Nathan gets about a 2.5 second gap, if not more, 2.8 seconds I think it goes up to. You see Limitless ahead, he's one that pitted under the VSC, because he's got 8-second gap, so we're down to 8. Everyone in front of us is either on the mediums and hards, which they started on, or they pitted to the hards on lap 4. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic at this point, but we decided to pause here to change my force feedback settings, just because I wanted that better feel from the car, just so I could be more confident, and we just about got it done on the straight, which is good. So I think we lost about 2 tenths, maybe a bit more to Nathan from doing that, but it's not an issue really. Then moving on to lap 11, you can see Stinson, who pitted lap 1 with damage, he's on the mediums. So yeah, he's right up behind us now, and he decides to go for the move. See, we put it in lean, we're not going to fight him because he had better pace than us at this point, so I just wanted to sit behind him and save tyres, and that was the start of this stint. In fact, for most of this stint, that's all I was focusing on, was just not wheel spinning, not going past the slip angle, just being nice and cautious. Sorry, nice and cautious into every corner, and I was still thinking that maybe a podium was on at this point. Even though we're in 9th, there's a lot of people ahead of us that I did not think were going to make it to the end. Because lap 4, I did not think was a viable time to pit. Yeah, I was still quite confident at this point that a podium was maybe on. But we'll have to see, because we've still got a lot of work to do. We've still got to save a lot of our tyres to make it comfortably to the end. But yeah, so we can just sit behind Stinson. You can see we're taking it quite easy into all of the corners and just letting him drag me along in the DRS. We're really not pushing too hard at this point, just because we don't need to. Short's shifting out the corners, and you can see 20% already to pitting on lap 8. It's only 6 laps in on these tyres and 20%, which was actually pretty good for these tyres. Yeah, going on to lap 15 here, Stinson dives into the pits. And you can see here my shifting into the last corner was really weird. I was having problems with my... you can see we nearly lose it there. Yeah, I was having problems for some reason with my downshift, but it was only into the last corner, so... yeah, it wasn't a massive issue, but just cost me a tenth or so here and there. But yeah, so now we're up into 6th after I think Schofield and Stinson pitted. Yeah, we're still on for good points at this point. You can see the gap to Nathan is 3.4 seconds, and we're just managing at this point. We're just controlling the gap. We don't need to be within 3 seconds the whole time. We're just controlling it, controlling our tyres, making sure, like I say, we're not pushing too hard. And when I need to, I knew I had the pace to then jump up and get within 3 seconds of him. But you can see here, next at the chicane, Limitless has had a spin.
Okay, clear.
So we look at having an overtake here, but didn't quite have the ERS to get past him. I was planning to get past him on the next straight. He was the one that pitted on lap 4, but I could tell pretty quickly here that he was pushing quite hard. He still had decent pace left in those tyres, so I thought I may as well do the same thing I did to Stinson and just save tyres even more, and let him drag me along, because there's just no point pushing when I'll only be maybe a few tenths faster than a lap, when the gap to Nathan is still manageable. You can see it's 3.8 now, but I'm still confident that I can close that at any point if I need to. Skipping on to lap 21 here, you can see the gap has actually extended a little bit to Nathan. It's now around 4 seconds, and Andre behind after having a drive through has caught up. So at this point I decided Limitless's pace wasn't quite quite good enough, so this is the lap I wanted to make my move. You can see we've saved up a lot of ERS. So yeah, it's only 6 laps to go now, or 5.5, so I decided it's now time to start pushing on slightly and start closing the gap to Nathan so that we can look at ensuring that 4th place. See, gap, all we need now is 3 tenths and we'll be in that 3 seconds to be able to overtake him at the end, and get that 4th place, which would be a solid result after starting in 3rd. And yeah, Rudy and Beast after head both pitted on lap 4, so you never know, their tyres could go at the end. So we move on to lap 25 now. The gap to Nathan, we've got it under the 3 seconds, which is really good. You see our tyre wear indicator just comes on now, so we've hit 60%. But as we go in here, I can see Nathan go straight on at the chicane. I was thinking he just made a mistake. You can see you get a 10-second time penalty from that, so at this point we know we've beaten him. But then as we come out of this corner, he spins, and it turns out he actually had a puncture already. So Nathan has a puncture, and he only pitted 1 lap before us. He pitted on lap 7. So the people who pitted on lap 4 must be really struggling at this point. We're not, because of how much we saved our tyres. So I know at this point that I can comfortably make it till the end. And as we move on to lap 26 now, only 2 laps to go, Rudy in front of us has got a 3-second time penalty now. and he pitted on lap 4. His tyres are going to be really struggling. We can see Nathan already with the puncture, so I know that my pace should be so much better than his, and with how much tyres we saved, I know that I can just push pretty much flat out to the end now. You see the gap's 5 seconds, so we've got less than 2 laps to gain 2 seconds on him to get that podium. So yeah, coming down the straight is holding at 5 seconds, but as we go into the chicane and exit it, you can see the gap goes to 4.7, so his tyres are so done at this point. Every traction zone, every corner, we're going to be gaining massive chunks of time, but we've still got to gain 1.7 seconds in order to get that podium. We've not got any fuel left really, we've got no ERS left, so I've just got to do it purely through the corners. And to be honest, I was so nervous at this point. I've not had a podium yet in the 3 seasons I've been doing the top tier of this league, so I was desperate for this. I've had some bad luck that has meant I've not had a podium yet in this league. You see the shifter into that last corner again, playing up a bit, but as now we exit the last corner, go on to the last lap, it's 4 seconds the gap to Rudy, so we've just got to gain 1 more second. Limitless behind, we've managed to push on and gain a comfortable gap to him. We've got 2 warnings as well at this point, so we can't push the limits too hard, because if we get 1 more warning, we've got a 3-second time penalty as well, and that's our podium chance is gone. So 3.9 now the gap goes down to, and it's just dropping every single corner. I don't know what tyre wear he's on, but obviously it's going to be so high after the amount of laps he's done on those tyres. As we come down the straight now, using every bit of the RS we have, all the fuel we have left. See with the yellow flag now, that's Andre who's had a puncture. So he pitted on lap 4, so we know they're going to be really struggling at this point. The gap drops to 3.2, so only 2 tenths we've got to gain now to get that podium. No ERS left, but as we throw it into this corner, the gap just drops below 3 seconds, so we've done it now. All we need to do is stay away from the track limits, just make sure that we don't get another warning. 2.6 seconds now, so we're comfortably within it. We take this last corner nice and easy, just making sure we don't get 1 more warning. Harry's won the race, great drive from him. But as we come up to the line now, you can see the gap is 2 seconds, and as we cross the line, we do jump ahead of Rudy into 3rd place behind Beastas. Harry won the championship. He sealed it today, so yeah, great drive from him. But yeah, so happy to get my first podium after so long.